Greetings, everyone. Hey, I wanted to share something that I've been meditating on this morning, and I'll call this accessing the realm of the kingdom on earth through the collapsing of the carnal mind. And in order to distinguish between the carnal mind and the spiritual mind, we need to lay a foundation of brain activity, because the brain is what generates the mind, and the mind is conscious experience. So, in order to understand conscious experience, we have to look at brain activity and what structures are formed and how. So, in order to collapse the carnal mind and bring conscious experience of the kingdom, we need to distinguish between two forms of information. I call it the information of the parts versus the information of the whole. To seek first the kingdom is to seek first the whole. The whole generates a conscious experience of the kingdom through the neuronal structures of the brain that form a pattern of the whole, which produces conscious experience of the whole. I believe about 1900 years ago, we lost the information of the whole. In fact, if you go back into the book of Genesis, we can see that Adam and Eve began forming the carnal mind the moment that they thought something outside of the thoughts of their Creator. When Satan came, or the snake came in the garden and said, "Did God really say?" That planted the seed of the carnal mind within humanity. Jesus came along and he reintroduced the whole, the kingdom, and he came here as much more than a teacher, but he came here as a teacher to bring information of the whole back to humanity, which renewed the minds of the disciples to such a degree that they walked on earth carrying substance of heaven through what I believe to be a conscious experience of the kingdom. They entered the kingdom. They entered a field of consciousness whereby their states of consciousness were in the kingdom. It transformed culture. It transformed their hearts, renewed their mind, and it all started with the renewing of their minds. So I want to encapsulate this collapsing of the carnal mind. When we bring in information of the parts, well, let's go back to the way that conscious experience is formed. It's formed through information, receiving of information. That information becomes integrated, becomes connected to such a point where it forms a whole. Out of that whole emerges a conscious experience. We call that the integrated information theory. A maximally irreducible conceptual structure is a conscious experience. That maximally irreducible conceptual structure is formed by information that reaches a state of wholeness. If that information is of the parts, our conscious experience is of a system of rulership that is outside of the kingdom. If the information is of the whole, if we seek first, if we take in that information as a top priority, we begin saturating our neurons with information of the whole, which eventually forms a system of neuronal correlates of the whole, which causes the mind to generate conscious experience of the whole. I'm going to be sharing a lot more about this in the coming years, but I'm throwing seed right now and seeing if it germinates. Love you guys.